Good afternoon, everyone, and a warm welcome to the Digispice Technologies Limited Q4 and FY22 earnings Zoom webinar. We have with us today Mr. Sanjeev Kumar, co-founder and CEO of Spice Money, Mr. Sunil Kapoor, Head Group Finance, Risk and Compliance, Mr. Rajnish Arora, co-founder and Chief Product and Strategy Officer, Spice Money, Mr. Vivek Venkateswaran, CFO Spice Money, and Mr. Vinit Kishore, CFO Digispice Technologies Limited. Before we begin, I would like to state that some statements made in today's discussions may be forward-looking in nature. The actual results may vary as they are dependent on several external factors. A statement in this regard has been included in the result presentation sent to you earlier. We will commence the call with the management taking you through the operational and financial performance for the period under review, following which we will have an interactive Q&A session. I would now like to invite Mr. Rajnish Arora to commence the presentation. Over to you, Rajnish.
Yeah, thanks, Devin. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the earnings call FY22 Q4. Can we begin with the presentation, please? Yeah. So in our first slide, we are talking about the summary of the key financial metrics for the last 3 years, so FY20, 21 and 22. And for better understanding, we've divided this. We're presenting kind of segmental results where we are talking about the fintech segment and the other segments. For people who are joining us for the first time, as Digispice, we have 2 key business units or 2 key segments. One of them is a rural fintech segment called Spice Money, which is a key focus area for us at Digispice over the last 2-3 years. And we're going to talk more about that in detail. The other segment that we have is, again, a B2B enterprise business segment where we deliver services to other enterprises, primarily technology and digital driven. These key enterprises include telecom operators and some of the other, enterprise industry segments like BFSI, etc. So, as I said, over the last few years, our focus has been to grow the rural fintech segment, and the other segments, actually primarily the telco segment within the other business, has been going through a transformation. That's been an old business within Digispice Technologies and has been going through a transformation where we are building new platforms to cater to new needs of the enterprises. Yeah. With Spice Money, over the last couple of years, we've been able to establish a good product market fit and have been scaling on back of it. Coming to numbers, over the last 2 years, our revenue has grown from 407 crores to 712 crores in FY21, further to 990 crores in FY22. This is a growth of 39% in the last financial year, over and above a 75% growth in FY21. And as you can see, this growth has been primarily driven by Spice Money, where the revenue has grown from 250 crores to 578 and further to 858 crores. So within FY22, this means a growth of about 49% this year. Looking at the gross margins, again, you can see that the gross margins, the contribution of Spice Money within the overall gross margin has been significantly growing. In fact, the growth of gross margins has been driven by Spice Money, whose margins have grown from 44 crores in FY20 to 80 crores in FY21, 231 crores in FY22. We are going to talk about, the detailed, in detail the components of this gross margin later. As far as indirect costs are concerned, you can see that there has been a growth within Spice Money, where we have been investing significantly in organization, technology, and brand to make sure that we leverage whatever opportunities available in the rural market. And in the other segments, we have been looking at cost rationalization in line with our transformation efforts. When we come to EBITDA, our overall EBITDA has moved from 7 crores in FY20 to 14 crores in FY22. And on back of positive unit economics and operating leverage, this EBITDA has been driven by Spice Money, where you see that the EBITDA has grown from 9 crores to 21 crores to 22 crores this year. I would also like to state that the current EBITDA is not really reflective of the potential EBITDA, since we continue to be on a growth path and continue to invest for future growth. And we'll talk about this in the later slides. The bottom two line items talk about the contribution of Spice Money in the overall Digispice business. So on revenue, Spice Money now contributes 87% in FY22 of the total revenue of Digispice. This is up from 61% in FY20. And on the gross margin side, Spice Money now contributes 78% to the overall Digispice gross margins. And looking at the potential growth opportunity within Spice Money, we expect this trend to continue, where Spice Money will, continue to contribute more to the financial metrics of Digispice consolidated. Next slide, please. Looking at the quarterly numbers, again, I think the storyline is the same, that the numbers are driven by growth in Spice Money. So on revenue terms, there is a sequential growth of 11.9% in Spice Money revenue, and 50% plus year on year. In gross margin, there is a 20% growth in gross margin and 111% growth year on year. So this also kind of showcases the operating leverage that we have within the Spice Money business, where our gross margins are growing in line with or better than revenues, and we have a potential to look at a healthy bottom line as we build the business forward. In terms of indirect costs, as we said, the costs again have been, the investments have been made within the Spice Money business, and the other segments are fairly static. And we'll talk about more around these investments. The resultant being the EBITDA, overall EBITDA remaining profitable as the last year, and within that the Spice Money EBITDA, quarter on quarter, while there is a dip from 7 crore to 4 crores, but this is due to the fact that we've taken a conscious call to invest the growth in gross margins back into the business, looking at the future growth potential. Yeah. Next slide, please. I would now like to invite Sanjeev Kumar, who is the co-founder and CEO of Spice Money, to take us through the Spice Money slides.
Thanks, Rajnish. Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining in today. Over the next few slides, I'm going to take you broadly over what Spice Money is doing, the segment that we are in, the operating model, some of key business highlights, and then we'll cover the financials, which my colleague Vivek will touch upon. Next slide, please. So before that, I want to stress on the three words. Spice Money is India's leading rural fintech platform. I'm purposely stating that again because of the space that we are in. We are focused. We are committed to rural India, and there are many pointers that reaffirm our belief and on the opportunity that exists in rural India and why it is shining. I'm going to touch upon 4 of them today. First being the internet penetration in rural India, which is important in driving our business, which is important in the digital opportunity in rural India. 336 million internet subscribers in rural India. And if you look at the smartphone internet penetration, increased at 30% per annum over the last 5 years. Rural India today has 20% more internet users than urban India. which also tells you that the internet penetration in rural India is growing at a faster pace. Smartphone availability in rural India has doubled in the last 3 years. Second, again, rural India today contributes to nearly 50%. It's touching 50%, 46% to the national income, which just again tells you on the significant opportunity that rural India brings to the overall country's development. It's not only urban India today, rural India is contributing equally now. Over the last 5 years, if you look at the rural India growth, it's grown at over 10%, and we generally believe that there is much more headroom for growth. The third indicator is the literacy rate. It's very important for us to touch base upon this. As of 2021, the literacy rate has improved to around 74%. While this is just an indicative percentage, but the trends that we are seeing also on the ground as we build this business is a lot of the youth, which is going to be play a very significant role in the development of rural India over the next few years, a decade or so. This is a very, very key indicator on how digital adoption is going to increase, financial literacy is going to increase, because literacy overall in rural India is increasing. Fourth macro pointer is the MSME sector. We all know MSME is a backbone of the Indian economy, contributes to about 30% of the country's GDP. And of the 3 million MSMEs, nearly 50% is in rural India. Again, a very big opportunity in the overall development of rural India. So if you look at these 4 big macro indicators of why rural India is shining, it just reaffirms us, and we believe that we are very well poised to leverage this digital opportunity to make a significant impact in financially and digitally empowering rural India. Next slide, please. I want to touch this. Let me speak about our business model. So what are we doing? We're building the last mile digital services platform for rural India. In simple words, we are trying to solve the problem of access of rural India. So if you look at this slide, in the center is where Spice Money comes, which is our Spice Money entrepreneurs who are using our app. On one side, on my left, are the product partners who are product manufacturers who want to provide services to rural Indian consumers. On the right side is the consumer. In the center is us. On this platform, we bring products of product manufacturers on this. We curate them, and through our network of Spice Money entrepreneurs, we're able to offer these services to the consumers of rural India. Example, if I start with my core services of banking and financial services today, a consumer is able to get his basic service. A consumer comes to my adhikari and he says, I want to withdraw money from my bank account. He comes and withdraws money from his bank account. He wants to deposit money in his bank account. He comes and does it at a Spice Money adhikari. He wants to pay bills because today rural India is all lit up. Electricity is there in every village. There is a DTH provider in every house. There is an LPG cylinder in every house. Where do you do all the bill payments? You don't need to go anywhere. You need to come to a Spice Money adhikari. He does this here. Right? There are other assisted services like ticketing. You want to travel, you come here and take this. So on one side, we are bringing all products onto this platform. The entrepreneur is the Spice Money entrepreneur, adhikari, who is digitally savvy, who uses this platform to offer the services to the consumers of rural India. Like we said, if you understand this model, it's pivoted on 3 building blocks. First is the most important, the access and engagement, right? Second is the data. And third, the way we've structured our technology is an open API architecture, which allows product manufacturers to plug in very conveniently. We customize integrations and do it on the go. That is the business model that we are in. I'll take an opportunity to explain this again in the next slide. Can you go to the next slide, please? Next slide, please. So, an extension of the last slide. If you were to look at the same business model in a different way, we're building a phygital super app for Bharat. What does this mean? It means when I put a consumer in the center, the rural consumer, and I put down all his needs, and we believe that can I offer those services onto my platform and through my entrepreneurs who's there at every district, block, gram panchayat and village. If he offers these services to the rural consumers, then a rural consumer does not have to step out of the village. So we've identified these services. We bucket them under 8 categories. Few of them we are live, few of them are going live this year, few of them are maybe slightly distant, maybe happen a year or two later, but that's there on our roadmap. We're solving the basic banking today. We're solving payments. We're getting into financial services this year. That's something that I'm very excited about. We're solving for travel. We're already solving for entrepreneur solutions. Government to citizen services, G2C, is something again that we will get into this year. Healthcare is slightly distant for us today. E-commerce, there are some pilots that we are doing. We will look at those models as and when our pilots evolve. But this is an extension of the last slide of building a phygital super app for Bharat. Next slide, please. If I go back to the first 2 slides when we were talking about the financial summary of Spice Money, we spoke about a lot of investments that we are doing today, and we continue to balance growth with profitability. One of the things is very important for us to understand on how our investments is. One is we are a positive unit economics business model, and that's something that gives us a lot of room for us to grow and build this business. However, the operating leverage will come with growth. And what we are trying to do, the way we centered this whole business model is we need to enable our adhikaris to serve our consumers more. If they serve the consumers more, there'll be more transactions on my platform, there'll be more data that comes out. That data allows us a lot of opportunity to innovate on new products. New products goes back onto my platform. It gives more opportunity for adhikaris to serve more consumers. And this is the flywheel that we are operating in. We continue to remain invested in this flywheel. And this flywheel is what we call the flywheel of growth. That's Spice Money is driving. These are few of the creatives of few initiatives that we've done recently on different products and services, but we continue to do it. This is just an example. Next slide, please. I want to talk about 2 new initiatives. I'm not so sure if you would recall, but in the last few quarter presentations, we did speak about them. A few of the business line that we've launched last year, and it's an opportunity for me to talk about them on how they have done in the last year. First one was the enterprise cash management. It's a big opportunity we saw, in which we believe that there's a problem statement in which there are a lot of enterprises like microfinance and NBFCs, logistics, even banks to a certain extent, wherein they've given out loans. The EMI collection happens in cash. So what do those institutions do? They use collection agents to go to the villages and blocks to collect money from the consumers, and they come back to the district headquarters to deposit that cash in their branch. Now there's too much of logistics challenge. There is time. There is cost to the collection. What we've done is we've offered a solution to them and says, we've tied up with these enterprises and says, why does your agent have to go back to the district headquarters? Why doesn't he come and deposit the same money at my adhikari who's there in the village? So this network of ours has started to become a collection network also for a lot of these enterprises. This business, we've got 36 clients integrated last year. And if you recall, it was practically negligible in FY20. We started this last year. We did about 419 crores of business last year. But, FY21, apologies. And FY22 is where we saw the big growth of over 10,000 crores. This is something that we continue to build on. We believe that there's a larger opportunity to play here, and we'll build this business more and more. The second business which we started was we launched under this brand called Travel UK. And this is another opportunity, like the banking opportunity. I go back to that physical super app story of travel as a need. We believe that there is a need of rural consumers want to travel, but the rural travel agents or even my adhikaris, can I give them a product which makes them easy for them to do the travel related bookings or services for the consumers. We launched Travel Union last year. It's a zero investment proposition, very, very attractive. A product like this, according to me, doesn't exist in the market in rural India. FY 2021, we were doing some business, but last year is when we launched this. This product got launched in the second half of last year, and 135 crore of FY 21 has grown to 442 crore in FY 22. We believe there is significant growth opportunity in this business, and we will focus on building this business in a big way this year and years to come. Next slide, please. May I request, thank you so much. May I request Vivek? Vivek, please could you take us through the Spice Money financials?
Thanks, Sanjeev. Warm good evening to everybody, and thanks for taking your time to join us in this earnings call. If you can go to the presentations, I'll take the audience to the numbers. Yeah, so it gives me great pleasure in presenting a robust set of financial and operating performance, over the year and quarter on quarter. And for some of you who've been regular in attending the calls, some of the information we've been representing will seem repetitive, but the important thing is that these are the key elements to our business model, which we want to re-emphasize and also showcase, to the market in terms of how well we've been doing in most of the metrics. Right. With that in mind, I'll just take this slide is about the financial snapshot. And the ones which are highlighted are the areas we focus on. The focus is on customer GTV, generate service fee revenue growth, and which generates gross margin on service fee and highly rise on EBITDA and EBIT. EBIT, as I explained before, is EBITDA. After EBITDA, we also take into account the net interest income that we make on the float money that is available on the platform. If you look at the key metrics, customer GTV, service fee revenue, service fee gross margin have shown double-digit growth and significant double-digit growth, if I may add. GTV growing at almost 81%, service fee revenue growing at 80%, and gross margin also growing at a very healthy 80.4% on service fee. And like what Rajneesh had alluded before, we made some conscious investment in the franchise in terms of distribution or brand, senior leadership, and technology. The fact that we've done well in all our operating metrics has provided us the leverage to invest. And EBITDA also we've closed better than last year despite investing for growth, and EBIT also we've shown a significant increase. If you look at the margins, can you take the slide up, please? I'm not able to see the. Can you scroll down, please? So in terms of the margins, the service fee revenue as a percentage of customer GTV and the GM percentage and service fee GM, we've maintained the ratios which are very critical to our operating leverage. And if you look at it, in fact, the GM we've grown healthily from 28% as a percentage of service fee revenue to basically to around 35% in FY22. Next slide, please. This is the snapshot of the quarterly performance. We presented the same metrics. Again, if you look at it, quarter-on-quarter, we've seen double-digit growths. And if you look at it, between customer GTV, service fee revenue, and gross margin has progressively increased. GTV growing at 10.4%, service fee revenue growing at 11.7%, and gross margin growing at 25%. And the indirect cost has grown at 38% quarter-on-quarter. Like what we said, these are conscious investments we made. This is the reason that EBITDA has declined. But overall, we still continue to maintain positive operating leverage. And, at a total EBIT level, we've closed the quarter at around 7 crores. Can we move to the next slide, please? And again, this is, I think, the backbone of our franchise. Basically, our network, which is our adhikaris, are driving service fee revenue. And, proud to say that, we've grown our revenues double digit for the last 8 quarters. And the most important thing is that we've achieved a very important milestone in our franchise's trajectory. We've crossed 1 million adhikaris. End of March, this was also part of our press release. We feel that this is just the start of the journey. There's significant more to go. But in terms of having a network strength of around 10 million adhikaris, it's a very significant milestone, and it will help to basically achieve our goal of providing as much as financial inclusion to rural India, right, on an accelerated basis over a period of time. Next slide, please. So again, these are key matrices. If you look at adhikaris, we've discussed the story about adhikaris. Similarly, in terms of GTV, we've shown the split between entrepreneur and customer GTV. And for people who are joining the call for the first time, the difference between entrepreneur and customer GTV is actually which drives our margins and revenue. Entrepreneur GTV is basically where we provide a service to the agent to move, move the funds from his wallet access to his bank account, and we do it at minimal cost for the adhikari. But the key metric to note here is the entrepreneur GTV, and we've shown 1.8x growth, in terms of entrepreneur GTV. And APS, which is our flagship product, we've seen us consolidate and further our leadership in the market. We've closed the year at a leadership position of around 16.4%. And as we speak, we are growing this market share even faster. Next slide, please. So last but not least, like what we mentioned in the previous presentations and in this call also, we've been investing in our leadership team. We believe we have the leaders with the right set of depth and breadth to take the franchise to the next level. And we're already seeing results, getting baked into the financial results. And you will see this progressing, in a more robust fashion for the quarters to come. So with that, I sort of close my presentation. And now we'll leave it to the audience to ask questions. Gavin?
Yeah, thank you, Vivek. If I could request people who have questions to either raise their hands, which we can take the questions verbally, or we enter their questions in the chat, which I will read out. We'll start the Q&A session now. I'll take the first question from Ramil Gogna. Ramil, could you unmute yourself and go ahead with your question, please? Ramil? Okay, Ramil is not able. Viral, can you unmute?
Yeah.
Ramil, please go
Hi,
ahead.
can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Yeah.
Okay. In one of the slides which Vivek was going through, there was a component indirect cost. So I just wanted to understand what that indirect cost is, and I have seen that it has been increased exceptionally from last year to this year. So can you please explain that component to me?
Sure.
And then is that going to increase in the same way moving ahead as well, if we can anticipate that? Thank you.
Thanks for the question. The reason why we show indirect costs separately, this is this is basically shown below the operating margin. These are costs which are primarily incurred for employees or call center, technology, marketing, right? And these are basically all the important levers for us to drive our business. A significant portion of this indirect costs are largely related to employees across the organization. And to answer your question, we believe in terms of our current business model, which is banking and payments, we've made the right level of investments for us to be able to keep driving growth and operating leverage. And on a case-to-case basis and on a need basis, we will continue to invest on new products and services with a very clear focus on ROI. But one thing, rest assured, is that we believe in financial prudence, and we believe in investing, in future business models or for growth based on the operating leverage that we generate in the existing business.
Okay. We take the next question from the chat, which is from Rishu Dhawan. In the consolidated cash flow statement, YOY, the amount for plant, property, equipment has increased from 381 lakh to 1272 lakh. What is the nature of this expenditure and what has actually been bought? Vinit?
Yeah. Thanks for directing the question to me. Both in Digispice and the business telco enterprise, we have been investing largely both in machines and in software, hardware. We have been building products. So all these investments have gone into building those products and systems which will help us in driving business going forward.
Okay. And the second question has been answered. So I'll just go with the third. While our sales have increased a lot, our bottom line is still not increasing in the same ratio. Is there any guidance on PAT approximate range for the upcoming year, 22-23? Will we remain flat?
See, as a policy, we don't give guidance. We only talk of figures which have been released. So it's difficult for us to give a guidance. But having said that, since last year we have been investing, and that is a reason why bottom line is not in the same ratio as my top line growth. But the results should see a swap as we progress in next year and going forward.
And are the promoters drawing any salary or perks from the parents or subsidiary company? Because that's not visible in the annual report, is it?
No, promoters are not drawing any remuneration.
At all. Okay. Thanks, Vinit. We'll take the next question from Saket Kapoor. Saket, could you go ahead? Could you unmute yourself, please, and go ahead?
Yeah. Namaskar, sir, and thank you for this opportunity. Sir, I just joined slightly late, so sorry for any repetition. But on the growth trajectory, just wanted to understand the scale the company is trying to look, say today in 2023 to 25, 2 years down the line, what kind of market share and what are the actual growth, first of all, the strategies and the areas where we can grow rapidly. And also on the market share and the key year comparison, if you could give to us, that would provide some more like of understanding the story, sir.
Thank you. Let me answer that. So, first, I don't know if you were there at that point of time when I was trying to explain the business operating model, in which we spoke about the fiscal super app story of rural India, and hence, from a consumer perspective, all the services that we're trying to offer. So those are the business lines that we want to get into. One, but obviously at this point of time, we are solving for the basic for banking, financial services needs, and there are other digital needs like we ventured out in travel and other pieces. We've called out on two parts. I don't know if I can get into specific numbers here, but 2-3 pieces that indicators that I can give. One, we had called out that our mission is to build is to have 10 million entrepreneurs who will serve rural India, and that's one goal that we've called out for ourselves. Second is in the APS market share that we are in today of about 16.4%. We will definitely scale this up. I don't want to get into specific numbers here, but like we say, we'll be committed to be a significant pan-India player at every district, block and Gram Panchayat level. So in all these spaces, we definitely believe that we will be a significant player solving for rural India.
Saket, any further questions? Saket, you're on mute. Oh, Viral, can you unmute Saket?
Yeah, now it's unmuted. So, sir, I was just trying to understand the scale at which the company can grow given the current environment, and also with the penetration of the increase in the penetration of internet, the deliverables of our which we are servicing, and the bouquet which we can service going forward. How is those things going to change with 5G in the anvil, and how is the cost component part going to change going forward?
So Saket, in our understanding of the business, at least for the next 5 years that we see, one is we are well poised to take on the entire market opportunity that exists. We don't see any threat to the business momentum that we see over the next 5 years. One. Second, yes, there are certain trends that will emerge as rural India will also get more digital and digital savvy. But we believe that we are very well poised because we are entrenched in that ecosystem to take advantage of that opportunity. So I can only tell you that we will continue to grow the way we've been growing, and I'm honestly much more than that across all these services that we were trying to seize the opportunity on.
Sir, if you look at the revenue mix and then the other income component, if you could explain what consists of this other income component, and it is lumpy in the nature because if I take the quarterly numbers and the annual numbers, that it's around 21 crores, and if we look at the bottom line PBT, it is 14 crore for the year. If we just strike out the other income component, just if you could explain us the nature of what the other income constitutes.
Vivek, you want to do that?
Okay, let me come in. So I think a larger part of the other income is actually operating income, which is the interest income that we earn on prepaid balances that our adhikaris keeps with Spice Money. So that's one big part of the other income. It does get accounted and classified as other income, so that's why you see it there. But essentially, it's part of the business. And then there are other incomes which basically are extraordinary in nature, which keep which are there, but they are largely more to do with the earlier part of our businesses and not with the Spice Money business.
So, because if you look at your expense line item, you could explain how explain the nature of this goods and service procured and the services rendered, the differentiation between these two line items, and the factors that will be controlling these two costs? Because these are the two lion's share of the entire P&L.
So if you're referring to the consolidated P&L,
yes, sir.
we would advise you to refer to the gross margin breakup that we have put in this presentation. Now, they're not in the published numbers, but therefore we've done it simpler by publishing the gross margin numbers, which are there for Spice Money and which are there for the other segments. So, I think that it'll be easier to refer to those than to trying to comprehend it from different line items, because the gross margin computation is coming from computation of different line items from the consolidated P&L.
Okay, sir. And if we take this quarter PBT number, sir, do we have any one-off item, or the trend in the other income is linear in nature, or it depends upon the year-end part that plays for the higher other income that we had for this quarter in particular?
So, Vinit, would you want to talk about if there are any one-offs in this quarter?
See, one-offs, we keep on reviewing our books. So just in case we find something can be, suppose there's a cost provision sitting there, which now we believe after due assessment that it can be, finally the cost provision seems to be higher than what liability we may pay. So we may reverse that, and that appears as a other income. So that review of books of accounts is a continuous process. So that something, the nature of business is today we have to provide a cost, and then actual cost invoices comes after a gap, and then we assess what's their provision is adequate, more than adequate. So that's part of our routine activity. I'll not say it's a periodic event and happens only after quarter end or year end, but it may appear in future as well. That's part of our review process.
One point to note, like what Rajneesh mentioned, is the significant portion of other income is actually the interest income which we make on float funds, which is available, which is directly proportional to the level of business that we do. So to that extent, which is a large portion of our other income, you can expect that line to be linear to our business growth in Spice Money.
Okay.
Sir, if last 2 points, if you could give some color on the business momentum and the factors that will provide the speed to the work. And sir, again, coming to the valuation part, sir, how do investors value companies that are into these type of niche business, if I may say? And if you could give us some more color on the peer comparison, whether today domestically or other places, other geographies also, wherein a likewise comparison can be drawn.
So Rajneesh, you want to answer that?
Yeah. So I think couple of things. Of course, I think investors like you would be better equipped to answer that question yourself, or what are the metrics you should take. But the way we look at it is, and specifically talking about the Spice Money business, I think there are two key levers of value. One is how many customers we are able to reach out, and for us, the reaching out to the customers today is through adhikaris. So one key metric is how many adhikaris, which means what is the spread of distribution and what is the depth of distribution, which we are focused on. And the second is how many services are we able to do we drive through that network, right? So essentially, it's like a pipe that you're creating. You're increasing the reach of that pipe and the number of services. And considering that it is a digital platform, right, the ability to push through multiple services, personalize them, create recommendation, etc., all of those come into the play. So the way to look at it is like any other digital business, where once you are engaging with the customer, the ability to cross-sell is significant times better than any other traditional distribution business, right? So that's one way to look at. The other question, Saket, you had another question on this?
It was firstly the growth levers I was looking for. And sir, just to chip in one more point, what kind of business do we do in coordinations with the governments? When the part of the business that is sourced from the government schemes and the one which is through the private, what is the split between the same, sir?
So Saket, I think directly we do not really source business from government. However, there are various government schemes like direct benefit transfer schemes of the government. For example, there's a Kisan subsidy, which is released by the government to 20 crore farmers. Yes, now, for the farmers to be able to easily access that subsidy is where we come in, right? So I would say we are working we are complementing the efforts of the government to provide better life to rural citizens rather than a sourcing business or providing services to the government. I think that's how currently the business model is. So it's closely linked to the government's efforts to improve rural India.
Sir, everything has been put on this DBT platform. So, and your targeted audience also, the revenue mix and how to, where to bridge the gap. So that was my point. How easy and how are we aligned to this line of business, because this is going to be an ongoing process. So until and unless the glitches are removed, where do we play our role in this DBT transfer part of the story, and how are we making money in the process?
Okay, so I think a couple of things. One, let me clarify that while DBT is a big driver for our business, because then there is a sudden release of money to a large set of beneficiaries, that gives us the ability to kind of create a network in a village, right? Like, because there is sudden demand for a product in the village, but that does not mean that is our customer. That is one segment of a customer which gives a boost or which gives us the right to go out in the rural and set up business. But when we have an Adhikari point in rural, it is practically every citizen who is able to access, every rural citizen who is able to get a convenient access to the services which otherwise he is not able to, right? So that's one point that I would like to say, that there is a certain driver, but then that driver helps us to get into rural and be able to solve problems for a larger set of segment. Okay. Second, your point around profitability. So the way the business model works is that the customer of the bank pays an interchange to us and it flows through NPCI and the acquirer bank. And a large part of that interchange we pass on to the Adhikari network, to our channel, to be able to service the customers. So we retain a portion of that interchange, which is what, we retain, and, that's our unit economics. So there is a per transaction fee that an Adhikari makes, and we also retain a per transaction fee. So for most of the products, either the service provider or the customer pays us and we retain a certain part of the fee.
So in this process, what are the key risks to the business model? So today you are able to bridge this gap, go for this incentive based work. Going forward with literacy rates, with also deeper level of penetration, and also the person who is remitting these benefits are also knowing that you are playing a role in midst. So what could be the key risks and challenges the business model may currently have, and what steps are you taking to eliminate or lower the same, sir?
So I think one question, that kind of continues to get asked is that will growth of digital in rural mean that, it hurts our business? And I think that is something that ought to be answered. I think that is something that we kind of live with every day. And that is something that we are also solving for. So currently we see that growth of digital is actually helping our business. Okay. And when I say growth of digital, I mean, more banked customers are actually helping our business. Let me take an example. Say a farmer who was earlier only dealing in cash, which means when he was selling his produce, he was getting cash, and all his payments, of inputs, all his payments to labor, etc., were in cash. What has started to happen is that now, because he's fully banked, a lot of his sale of produce has started to come into his bank account. Okay, and what that means is that while the inflow into the bank has significantly increased to this farmer, a lot of people have started to get, their proceeds into their bank account. The expense side, there is still a time before, or I would say on the expense side, the digital growth is still limited. While it is growing, but as a percentage of the total, I think it is still limited. So I would say the growth is far higher than the digital outflow. right? For example, if a farmer gets all his money into his bank account, like the sale of produce, but if he has to pay to his agriculture labor, as of today, there is no product available, or we cannot visualize a product where a daily wage labor is ready to accept or is comfortable accepting any form of digital product as of today. Okay. So therefore, once the money hits the bank account, it actually opens up an opportunity for this farmer to look for avenues to convert digital to cash. Similarly, the Aadhaar stack will also enable us to start converting cash into digital. The Aadhaar stack will come out with a product where people will be able to deposit cash into their bank account. Today, that product is not fully available. So that will also start enabling people to convert cash into their bank account. So I think on the whole, this will lead to increase in digitization. Second, when it comes to coming up with relevant products where, taking example of this farmer where he starts to pay digitally, for example, to a labor, there is definitely a need of products which are very relevant to the rural segment, right? Like, for example, if an agricultural labor has to accept payments in the form of digital and be able to spend digital, there is a set of product construct that is needed for rural. And that is where we believe that we come in based on our understanding of what is needed on the ground, and our focus on rural focused products is where we believe that we will be the one who will lead, creation of such products, and therefore take this customer in a journey from cash to digital, right? So that's our intent, Saket, at a high level. How do we see the transition of our business? But in the short to medium term, we actually see significant growth opportunity in the core business because of the reasons we spoke about.
So could you classify the products? And last point, and I'll come in the queue. What are the products currently in the offering from where you are garnering the maximum revenue? From you just the one which you have explained about the farmer, and that's all from my side.
Yeah. So the biggest hook products is where a customer wants to access the bank account primarily for cash withdrawal, sometimes for sending money, right? So these are the primary products. Sometimes you want to know his balance or get his statement, etc. So the ability to access your bank account is where we come in. So that's our hook product. But once the customer comes to the Adhikari outlet, he has various needs, right? So his needs is to recharge his phone. His need is to pay bills. And then within bills, there are multiple categories, right? And that bill payment platform is also growing where multiple categories are growing. Then there is need if he's taken a loan to be able to pay an EMI, right? Then there is a need to be able to book a railway ticket, right? Then migrate to a flight ticket. So as far as needs are concerned, I think there are multiple needs. Our intent is to be able to solve the needs of the rural customer at one point. And as Sanjeev spoke about our cash management business, where we are solving the need gap of a rural enterprise who is collecting a lot of cash, but they have problems in managing the logistics of the cash. So that's where we come in, where our Adhikari in rural is able to, help in accepting that cash and reusing that cash to, redeploy for cash withdrawal services. So in a way, we are enabling easier access to banking, payment, and a host of digital and commerce services.
Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Sorry. Thank you, sir. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
That's all from my side. Thank you.
Vivek, you want to say something?
Yeah, I want to say something. So I think Rajneesh has articulated this very well. So I think just to reiterate, look at it. If you look at our fundamental business model, which Sanjeev also talked about, we're actually at the center solving the problem of access, right? And the core to this is actually the rural customer. And the way that we are solving it is by linking product manufacturers, and through our network, we are solving this access, right? So the entire business model revolves around the rural customer. Now, tomorrow, depending on how the rural customer progresses in his digital journey or behavior, we'll again be at the center of it. And if there is one player who's at, rightly poised to take advantage of this, I believe it is Spice Money. The reason being, with our network strength and our understanding of the rural market, we are well poised to actually transition along with the rural customer and keep solving the problem of access to financial services in innovative ways. So I just want to leave it there because that's the core to our business model.
Thanks, Vivek. Thanks, Rajnish and Saket. We take the next question from Lavina Jagwani. Lavina, can you unmute? Viral, can you unmute Lavina, please? And Lavina, can you go ahead?
Hello. Hi, sir. Lavina here from Electrum Capital. I just have two questions. Sir, I just wanted to understand your presence or your reach of Adhikaris in terms of how many districts are you available in and what is your visibility? Is there something that you guys track?
Sanjeev, would you want to answer that?
So, Lavina, we are present across 700 districts today, over about 18,000 nearly pin codes. Of the rural pin codes, which is about 7,500, we are present in 7,200. We also track how many villages we are present in. We cover about 212,000 villages today. Obviously, this is one level of penetration. We want to go deeper into all of them, into this network. But that's a journey that we are on.
Okay, got it. And sir, one of the verticals that you mentioned was giving loans, right? So, are there any parameters to decide if the rural consumer is creditworthy, or what happens if they default on paying the EMIs?
So, Lavina, no, we said about that loans is a product that we want to get into, credit as an opportunity. I think the business that I was speaking about more was a collection for loans that are disbursed by MFIs and BFCs. Lavina.
Got it.
But credit is an opportunity that we've already started more first from an Adhikari, but we'll also get into consumer lending with time.
Okay, got it.
So, Lavina, question, yes, we are looking at alternate models of underwriting in partnership with various lenders to be able to access the credit opportunity in rural. And at present, we are at a pilot stage of, as Sanjeev said, of starting with our own Adhikari, whom we understand far better by data, and then moving into providing access of credit to customers. So I think that's an opportunity that we are solving for currently.
Okay, sir. Thank you. That's all from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Lavina. We take the next question from the chat. Why are we carrying on with the telecom business? It masks our rural business, and what is the synergy between the telecom and rural business?
Yeah, so let me take that. So I think, since the telecom industry has gone through its own cycles, and, that's not only India, but we also serve telecom, operators in Southeast Asia, Africa, etc. So I think overall, globally, the industry has gone through a change. So I think we do believe that there are certain green shoots within that opportunity, since we already have good relationship and very long-lasting relationship with the telcos. We do see certain green shoots of opportunity where we could continue to participate in that business. So that's where the whole transformation is underway. So, we would request you to kind of keep a tab on that, and rest assured that does not affect our focus on Spice Money, because as you saw, there is we built the right leadership team at Spice Money. So there is no defocus on the Spice Money growth side as we get into transformation and identifying growth opportunities within the other businesses.
There's also another question from Atim Kabra, who says, we mentioned services and products sold by Adhikaris in the same breath. Have we begun selling physical products, or are we selling services only?
Yes, I think just to clarify, I think by product and services, basically we meant the same. I think it's just the way we said product, but basically they're all services. Right now we're not selling any physical goods through our network.
And a question from Dimel Francis, who was in queue earlier, but he says, how much does increasing penetration of UPI pose as a threat to the AEPS business?
So I think we've talked about this, about growth in general in digital. As of now, I think if you look at APS industry, that grew by 75,000 crores, I think from about 2,25,000 crore to 3 lakh crore over the last year. So as such, I think the industry is growing. I think there are different drivers and different customer segments for both of these products. So we see both of them growing and complementing each other. Actually, both of them are a function of the increased, banked customers, right? So it's not like either or. As the banking increases, right, as more and more money hits people's bank account, we see both of them growing complementarily. In fact, we do provide UPS services to our adhikaris on our network, and we are seeing growth in that, in line with the other product lines.
Thanks, Anish. We take the next question from Chiku. Chiku's been waiting in queue for some time. Chiku, can you go ahead?
Yes, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Yeah, you're audible. You're clear.
Hello?
Yes, you're clear.
First of all, thank you for giving me this opportunity. I'm very delighted, sir. Sir, my question is, what I understand is, you guys want to present Spice Money as a platform as a service. So in rural India credit, so when we will gonna see like agriculture marketplace or insurance marketplace? Yes, sir. Or credit marketplace.
Chiku, your audio wasn't too clear, but I don't know if you got the question. Rajesh?
I think what I could hear is that, are you asking, Chiku, what are our plans around insurance marketplace, agri marketplace, and credit marketplace?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Like you guys launched Travel Union, I think it is a marketplace for travel products. So when you guys want to launch a product or marketplace around agriculture, insurance, credit, because there are many opportunities in rural India, and Spice Money acts as expressway.
Yeah. So, Chiku, I think we are cognizant of all of these opportunities. We also have teams working on understanding how do we leverage such opportunities in rural, but too early to talk about any specific plans.
Okay, sir. Sir, my second question is, are you guys thinking about, any strategic tie-up with government for providing any service to rural customers?
So, we will come back on a specific update on this.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chiku. There was one other question from a shareholder which was sent earlier for any update on the Corero platforms and what are initiatives and what performance of the Corero platforms are. Would someone like to take that?
Yeah, so I can take that. So I think overall, we have been, we are in the enterprise business and we do have, a relationship with the enterprises. And our intent with the Corero platform is to go, so one is to get existing enterprises on the platform to be able to expand the service portfolio, but also to cater to enterprises which may be of smaller size, but on an aggregated basis, they can build a larger business for us. I think I would say that we've been able to onboard about 50 enterprises onto the Corero platform. But in terms of their ability to contribute meaningfully to the overall business, I think it's still few quarters away, and the teams are working on expanding the services portfolio.
Thanks, Rajesh. Chiku, you have your hand is raised. Do you have a question or?
Yes, sir. I have one question.
Okay, please.
Sir, I last few days ago I met one of your distributors, sir. Sir, they told me some questions, sir, to ask with you, sir. Can I, sir? Hello?
Yeah, okay.
सर उन्होंने कहा कि स्पाइस मनी अच्छा प्लेटफॉर्म है और हमें बहुत अच्छा सर्विस मिल रहा है. सर उन्होंने ये कहा कि क्या हमें बैंक अकाउंट ओपनिंग सर्विस, सर उन्होंने बहुत पहले से बोल रखा है. सर उन्होंने कहा कि बैंक अकाउंट ओपनिंग सर्विस कब आएगा, जिससे क्योंकि बहुत सारे अधिकारी जो है आपके उनका खुद का घर नहीं है, तो सर उन्होंने बोला कि कुछ ऐसा करो, उनको बताओ कि हम लोगों को लोन दे घर में रहने का. और सर आपका एक तीसरा उन्होंने कहा कि सर जैसे आप लोगों ने कमाल का मौका वाला प्रोग्राम लॉन्च किया था जो एजुकेशन से रिलेटेड सर्विस था, तो उन्होंने कहा कि हमारे घर में एक ही फोन है तो हम फोन से काम करते हैं, तो हमारे घर के जो विमेन्स हैं वो यूज नहीं कर पाते, तो ऐसा कुछ बताना उनको या कहना उनको कि फोन से रिलेटेड क्रेडिट कुछ हो जाए तो हमारे लिए सही रहेगा. So sir, I just want to know what you guys think about it.
So Chiku,
Yes,
thank you for that. Yes, Chiku, this is Sanjeev. Thank you so much.
Yes,
thank you so much for this conversation on behalf of the distributors. So I understood. I've taken the suggestions. I've written it down. Right. I can only say I don't want to get into specific, but we've remained committed. We've remained committed to our partners in the growth story. They are our distributors or the adhikaris. They are anchor point for the growth of Spice Money. So we've always tried to do things which have been, in the interest and which helps them economically or in digitally or in some ways. So we'll look into these and we'll definitely we'll continue to do this. Chiku.
Okay, sir. Sir, one last question, sir. What's your take on digital bank? What's your take on digital bank concept around rural India? Can we saw Spice Money as a digital bank in future, sir? Something like that.
Very, very futuristic. It's a paper that was out, Chiku. Very futuristic. Yes, we'll continue to. We'll be like we said, we're cognizant of the space that we are in. We'll continue to be we'll be abreast of what's happening in the market. We'll take decisions as and when anything materializes from the ecosystem, and at what stage we are in the best interest of the business that we are in.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir. And जब हम लोग distributor अधिकारी से मिलते हैं, we are feeling very proud. And as a shareholder, I'm feeling very proud. Okay, कितना अच्छा काम हो रहा है. Thank you so much, sir. You guys are doing great job. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chiku.
Thank you, Chiku. That was the last question. Thank you very much. Rajneesh or Sanjeev, would you like to say something to close?
Let Rajneesh close. Rajneesh close.
No, I think thank you so much, everyone, for taking our time and joining this call. And we are very happy with the kind of depth of questions that come, which means that at least over the last few quarters we've been able to communicate what we do well. I think when we started about a year ago, the questions are very high level, and we are very happy to kind of keep all of you abreast with what we are doing, what we are trying, what's working, what's not working. So please do stay connected with us. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, management. Thank you, everyone, for your participation. We may now end the call. Thank you.